But you don't have to get it unless if you want to use it for, I don't know, whatever reason. You don't have to get your title deed back because what? You have a security. Let's say you have a house that is worth 800,000 for argument's sake. When you pay off that debt, you know that there is 800,000 sitting there waiting for you to make use of it for whatever reason if you want. For instance, if somebody is deceased, people must report their estate. They must report the estate of the deceased person because I've realized people don't know that an estate needs to be reported. You deal with clients who have an estate of a deceased person who died like 10 years ago.
Does being in a union go hand in hand with loan? They are nearly the same. They are in the same spectrum.
Unionists represent workers. In law, lawyers are representing client for whatever reason. So anything that has got to do with representation, that's when I decided.
That's where they collaborate.
That's where, yes, and that's when I took a decision that I want to do LLB because I did it while I was still teaching. Going to represent members there. Although they were training us, as I've indicated, that they would train us with the Labor Relations Act,
the vocabulary.
They would train even the process, how you go about doing it. Yeah. But I thought maybe I need to add, I decided, let me register for LLB and see where it takes me. And then I registered. I got my LLB even before I came in as a mayor. Unfortunately, when the deployment ended, that's where it said, no, Mara, I have some qualification, man.
Dust off.
And see if I can do something out of this. And then I decided to I started by doing articles, Maralimo, getting into a space where you know nothing about, because theory is one thing, but practical is another. So when you get into a space where you don't know, say, go to court. What do I say when I get to court? And then my articles had to be cut short. Then I registered to a law school. Law school, they teach you here, when you go to court, this is how you address the magistrate. It's your worship, my lady, if it's a high court, or my lord, like that. Yeah, you get to be taught like that. You taught the decorum, how you wear, how you address, how you prepare documents, how you respond to documents from one attorney to the other, things like that. There are a lot of sections that you say prepare a section, whatever document, you must know what the document is. But so you choose corporate lawyers, they deal with corporate. They are attorneys, but they deal with corporate. And then there will be those who deal with criminal lawyers, for instance, who go to court. There are those who deal with civil matters. And then there are those who deal with property, like in my case, with conveyancing. And there are those who will be dealing with anti-nuptial contracts, with foreign documents. Those are notaries. No. So it's just a branch of law that one decides to focus on, to say, okay, this is a corporate lawyer. So it is, law is very broad. It's very broad. Very broad.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So I did my articles. I got admitted. I was indicating that I've always wanted to be a conveyancer, because even in my module, Star LLB, I have a conveyancing module. So after admission, because you cannot be a conveyancer when you are not an attorney.
You cannot be a conveyancer if you're not an attorney.
Because I was specializer. Yes, so you specializing on the law that you have already, the attorney that you have. Now you become a specialist.
Okay.
So you must either be admitted as both an attorney and a conveyancer, but you must have both.
Okay.
If you don't have, you are not admitted as an attorney, you cannot be a conveyancer.
Yeah.
So I was admitted as an attorney, and then I enrolled for the course for conveyancer, because honestly, a separate one besides the one that you do at university, there is this one which is lawyer vele, you get it from the law school.
Yeah.
And then I attended that course. It's not a very easy course to pass. Ne? Yeah, some do it more than 7 times or 8 times or whatever times. Well, I got it after writing 3 times. I got it. Yeah. So that's what is entailed. Conveyancing is property. It transfer property. When and when you have agreed for you to get a title deed, you must come to me. So that we pass that we transfer that property from him to you. You must get.
Is it only if it's people, or even if it's a bank and myself? Let's say I'm done paying my bond. Do you still form part? Then do I still have to go to you for my title deed?
There are bond attorneys who will be dealing with your bond, but the bottom line is you may be dealing with the bank. The bank is just funding. It's funding you buying property, because when you bought a house, you were buying it from Temba. But you had to go through the bank because you did not have the money. The bank,
that developer.
Or that developer. So you go to the bank. The bank says, okay, we can give you the money. But as security for that money that we are giving
hold on to the title
we are going to mortgage your property.
Okay.
We hold on to your title deed until such time you have paid us off, then you get your title deed back. But the principle is the transfer property from one person to the other. The banks are just coming in as funders and stuff. So yes, you do that. And when you transfer a property, normally you will find that there are 3 attorneys involved. There is the bond attorneys, if there's a bond involved, there's a transferring attorney, and there is the third one. But normally there are 3 attorneys that are involved. So the transferring attorneys, it's me. Yes.
So now I have a house. I'm planning to pay it off at the end of the year. So what will I need to do? Obviously, because it's not yet time for me, according to the agreement between the bank and myself. I still have maybe over 20 years to pay, but like I have saved enough. I just want to close this thing.
Okay.
So what do I do now?
All right.
Obviously, they're going to give me a settlement account.
Of course.
Yes. So am I going to pay you to transfer the title deed to me, or like that whole part?
You already have your title deed. They have your title deed as a bank, because that has happened as you were buying and signing papers and stuff. So your title deed has been ceded to the bank. It's sitting there already. The transfer cost and stuff have been paid.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just that the bank is now holding on to your title deed. They will give you your title deed, but you don't have to get it unless if you want to use it for, I don't know, whatever reason. You don't have to get your title deed back, because you have a security. Let's say you have a house that is worth 800,000 for argument's sake. When you pay off that debt, you know that there is 800,000 sitting there waiting for you to make use of it for whatever reason, if you want. You don't have to start afresh applying for a loan and saying, no, we have to do your checks and whatnot. You have that money sitting there at the bank. You can access it any day, any time.
Oh. So you don't really have to take it. You leave it there to secure the money.
You leave it there to secure the money. You just use the right way. You leave it there. You have security. So let's say one day you become fortunate that you want to open this business, but you have to fund this business. You don't have money. There's money lying there for you. You can go access it, and it will serve as security. And then you go on, you work, and then you pay.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's brilliant. Like, okay, then what do you do on a day-to-day basis as a conveyancer? I hope I'm saying it right.
Well, remember, I'm not just a conveyancer.
Yeah.
I'm also an attorney.
Other questions? No, it's fine. You can answer.
So you will have client coming to consult. Others may come consult for divorce purposes. Others may come to consult for estate purposes. For instance, if somebody is deceased, people must report their estate. They must report the estate of the deceased person, because I've realized people don't know that an estate needs to be reported. You deal with clients who have an estate of a deceased person who died like 10 years ago. They did not report an estate. You report an estate so that the estate can be liquidated and distributed accordingly. If it gets distributed, it does not necessarily mean that you have to sell. If you don't want to sell, you may decide that this is how we want this to be liquidated and distributed. So when you report an estate, I think you have heard about the letters of executorship or letters of authority. That's a very important document to have. If, for instance, you're staying with your parents and then you lose one of your parents, you still have to go report the estate of her or his half share in the estate, so that it can come back to the remaining spouse, or it may be exactly
both of them are normal.
Exactly. So you'll have people reporting up there. You have people coming for bails, which I don't do. I don't like going to court. I don't like litigation, And then
why? But because you are able to articulate and stand up. I thought that's where you will thrive.
Well, you not that I can't. I just don't like it. I just don't like it.
You don't do criminals.
I think at my age, I am at a space where I want a peace of mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Litigation does not have peace, because some would take these things personally. I always argue to say, when we go and argue for our clients, you have your client, I have my client. It is the clients that are fighting, not attorneys. But people take it personally. People would fight you. The next thing, you have created enemies for what? It doesn't have to be like that. So that's what litigation does to lawyers. You end up becoming enemies unnecessarily, and I don't like that.
You're choosing your battle wisely.
I choose my battles. So as a conveyancer and the reporting of estate, divorce I can do. On the conveyancing part, you'll have people coming saying we are selling property one to the other. Can you do the stuff? We'll start off by, if you don't have a deed of sale, we'll then draft a deed of sale for you with all the conditions. When you have signed that, then we'll get the necessary documentation, like your title deed from the seller, and then your power of attorney, raise clearance certificate, which is very difficult to get. But
why is it so difficult?
Well, in some instances, you find that the seller has some outstanding debts, and then it takes time to pay. And then when you apply, it takes about 6 weeks. Sometimes it takes even more. I remember this one matter that I was doing. I even had to call one of the officials. Luckily, this lady was working at Imalahleni while I was still mayor. So I remembered, hey man, we have this lady who's working at the Kurulini, and these people are giving me a run around. And then I called her, and she intervened. Within 2 days, my things were like fine. Yeah. So I suspect that they took my file and say, who is this, and put it aside, and they forget about you. And I come to client, hey, when are we getting the transfer? When is the property getting registered? Yeah, so you do that, and then when I have compiled the whole bundle, I go and lodge in Nelspruit. Our deeds in Mpumalanga is in Nelspruit. You lodge. The lodgement is to put in the documents, and they check if you comply, everything. If you have not complied, they give you notes. You go back and correct. And then when you have complied, you'll then go back and execute it. That's where you sign for the title deed for the deeds registrar to give you the title deed, and then you leave it there. And then after some 5 days, they will call you that it is registered, you come and get your title deed. Then you give it to the client.
In the way we sang, you look like you really enjoyed.
I do, I do. When I'm not fighting with anybody, I'm just serving the clients.
What is the biggest mistake that people do when selling and buying properties?
Sure. I guess if there are mistakes that people are doing selling property, it would be in their contract that they would not include all the clauses, or rather, it's fine, you will pay me. And then when it is registered, the title deed is in and that person's name. It will be difficult for you to...
So people do register like a title without getting the full payment?
Well, if they agree, no, it's fine.
You can pay me month to month.
Yes. Unless, like I'm saying, if it is not tied on the contract itself, the deed of sale, then that's where mishiga because on the deed of sale you will indicate that you are going to pay me even before it gets on the day of registration. Every cent that you owe me must be in the account of the conveyancer. It's safer there because we put it in the trust account.
Okay.
And then you are able to then pay on the day. Mara hel kare ha na le themba re tlo patalana ha e tlo ba problem, and the conveyancer ha e kene mo because lona le rekiseditse ntlu, we are fine, o tla mpatala. When the title deed comes, I give it to the rightful owner. Gore lona le patalana ha le patalane ke sa kena mo. So it's always safer to make sure that you will appoint the conveyancer who will put the money into the trust account and pay on your behalf.
Can we include the clause that in as much as you haven't paid me and the deed is in your name, but for as long as I haven't gotten the full payment, can you still revoke?
Once the title deed is out, it's out. You can't. So your best bet is to make sure that this person pays even before registration. Yeah. So, normally the clause says registration will take place after
every cent
payment.
Paid.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. I don't know if I have more questions with conveyancing and attorney, but have you dealt with divorce as well?
Yes.
How is it dealing with it? There were, especially from people, rich people.
Well, I haven't had rich people, Remember, I got admitted in 2021, so I am not very long in the field. Oh. It's just 3 years. So I haven't been that lucky to get those rich people. The matters that I've got are just simple, straightforward of people who are just employed, and then they would share
that pension fund, share house.
Yeah.
It's not those complex.
No, I haven't had those complex ones.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Mama, for coming and really speaking about your life. I know people like you who are so prominent, sometimes it takes a lot to share about yourself. But thank you so much for coming. Do you have any last words that you can say?
Well, besides thanking you, Brooking, having me here, it was a breath of fresh air, It was a breath of fresh air, I must say. And, I'm just hoping that whatever I have said here today doesn't get misconstrued, What you get with me, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
I am who I say I am. So, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mama. I always tell people when I invite them that this podcast is mainly to spread positivity, be inspirational. So I think even people who come and watch, they already have that mindset. So it wouldn't be people who are like, and then now start scrutinizing you. That's what I pray for also when every time I'm going to shoot the episode, that God, may it serve people, may it open people's eyes, may people be inspired because of this podcast. So yeah, I am hopeful. We haven't had anyone who's been construed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I live by the motto that love is all there is.
Yes.
So whatever we do in this life, love is all there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I just want to say goodbye. See you later.